Okay, this here is a review for the S&P 500 from Tuesday, May 30th. The breakout trade that I had marked up here did not trigger. I went ahead and removed those notes from up there. I'm not needing those anymore. Well, what did trigger was my support entry here. It did give me a confirmed move over a red candle, which is not ideal, but I like the strength that I was seeing as far as the tape moving up on this move right here. So I got into tomorrow's 241 call just for a quick little trade. Expected it to come up and maybe break all the way through this wedge that had formed, but that was not the case. Hit resistance at exactly this previous trendline support, which is now considered resistance, and trailed me out for a small gain there. Nothing to complain about. Still ended up working out fairly well. Going forward here, chart is still fairly bullish. Moving averages are all ideal for bullish entries. 8 above the 21, 21 above 50, 50 still well above the 200 simple moving average down there. Price action also shows you it's in a very strong uptrend. Everyone knows we've recently broke out 2 new highs on fairly mediocre volume, so that's a little bit concerning. But when you go out to a higher time frame, you go out to the 20-year monthly chart here. The historical chart here goes all the way back to 1997. But what's very important to me, anyways, is looking at this monthly time frame. At least from this year, we've already initiated a bullish trend in February of last year. Started climbing up every time we had a red candle, we slight pullback and then continuation on. Now we've had a flat, essentially a consolidation pattern. Monthly candle was inside the previous month, and now we're breaking to the upside. So just like on a daily or an intraday time frame, if you have an inside candle, whichever way it breaks is typically going to go ahead and continue on in the pre-existing trend. For a couple of reasons. You got buyers that are buying just the highs because it's a technical trade, and you also have shorts they're going to have to cover because that's usually where their stop losses are going to be. Also want to pull up here the weekly time frame. You can see we had another consolidation area. It was a very nice breakout pattern here. Let's see if I can get a couple of these candles off here, illustrate exactly what the breakout looks like. You can see we had a very clearly defined top right here at about 240.40, and finally got the push above that month, and now we're kind of just digesting to see if we're going to continue higher. In order to confirm we are moving higher, obviously we got to have a move over 240.208. So where we are now, we had an inside day on Friday on fairly low volume. Inside day just means that range of the price action was completely contained within the previous day's price action. Usually if you've got to break below it, you'll trigger at least somewhat of a sell-off, which did not occur, so maybe there's no bulls willing to take the trade, and we'll see if that's going to continue on. Now going forward here, what I'm looking at is got a couple of supports here. I'm obviously going to have this 240.50 level as a support, which should coincide with about where the previous high was, at 240.75. So that level is going to be good to go. I'll leave it on my chart. I'll go ahead and go to the higher time frame to clean up some things here. I no longer need this note, I no longer need this note, and I no longer need this one or this one. Got a new trend line here that I did draw in relation to price action from Thursday, Friday, and today. So now got a new trend here. Since it has gapped up, it kind of resets any patterns that were on the chart. I'm only going to leave this previous wedge top up there. It also coincides with this newly formed support. This line here is no longer valid. We'll go ahead and take it off. And this one is not really pertaining to anything that I'm doing either. So in order to keep the chart clean, remove all that. And now my plan going forward here is I will be looking for a pullback here into 241.31. There's no real breakout pattern that I'm seeing at the moment. So I'm going to stick to simply support trades, and any kind of pullback into this level here. The most ideal place in relation to this trend is actually going to be right here around 240.21. So any kind of movement down here and then a green over green 5-minute break will trigger me into some sort of calls. And then below there, I'll also be watching for 240.80. And that's going to be my plan going forward. Any kind of trigger into it long, I will be looking for another test of 242. And we'll see what can happen. Good luck.